Unconsidered cheating. Life sometimes throws you a curveball out of nowhere. It seems innocent at first until it hits you right in the face, as innocent as a little 5-year-old crying his heart out. That's what happened to me 4 weeks ago. David, my husband, our 2 kids and I were at a barbecue on a bright sunny August Saturday. I was alone in the kitchen making pasta salad. Margaret, the hostess, was outside with other wives and husbands. Samuel, our little boy of 5 years, came running in, rushed to me, and cried. He tried to say something, but couldn't hold back his sobs, and I couldn't understand a word. "Okay, slow down, honey. Take a deep breath and tell me why you're crying." Gathering all his courage, huffing, breathing heavily, he took my advice. "I don't want Daddy to get rid of Mustache, Mom. I don't want a new cat. I love Mustache," he said. "Why do you say that, Sam? We don't want to replace Mustache with a new cat. Why do you think that?" "Because Dad told Uncle John that," he finally said. I hugged him. "You must have misunderstood what Daddy was saying. We're not getting rid of Mustache. Now, Sam, forget about it and go back outside to play with the other kids," I reassured Sam. Sam looked at me. "Are you sure, Mom? Are we going to keep the mustache?" "Yes, I'm sure." Clearly relieved, he jumped outside. Well, that was weird. Mustache is my old 15-year-old cat. I had him before I met David. My name is Sheila Roberts, formerly O'Brien. I met David 10 years ago. He was 25 years old and I was 23. We hit it off right away, and everything led to us getting married 2 years later. A year later, I got pregnant, and we had our first child, Annika, who is now 7 years old. 2 years later, I gave birth to Samuel. I know Mustache is nearing the end of his life. He is a little blind right now and has a hard time holding his litter, but he is still very much alive and eating well. David and I have discussed this topic several times and even started preparing the kids for the fact that he doesn't have many years to live, but we were far from making a decision. I will certainly talk to him about it. It wasn't until after we left the barbecue and headed home that I remembered what Samuel had said. "Honey, why did you say you wanted to get rid of the cat and get a new one?" "It really traumatized Samuel," I said. For a split second, there was a strange expression on David's face. Surprise, shock. I wasn't sure. He looked at Samuel in the back seat. "I didn't say anything like that. Let's talk about it later when the kids have gone to bed," he finally replied. Well, when we got home, I had to wake up Samuel, who was very tired and in a bad mood. Bath time was a real struggle, as it often is between the kids and me. David and I were exhausted too, and soon we went to bed and I forgot about the mustache. So, a week ago, it was our turn to host our friends for a barbecue. I was in the kitchen when I really needed to go to the bathroom. The window was open, letting in the fresh air as well as all the noise from the backyard. I could clearly hear John talking to David, even though I couldn't see them from the bathroom. "You sneaky asshole," John said. "I didn't think you had the guts to bring a new pussy into the house while your wife is away." "Shut up, John. You're gonna get me in trouble. If Sheila ever finds out, I'm dead," David replied. "So, all set for the long Labor Day weekend when she takes the kids to visit Mom and Dad?" "John, I said shut up." "All right, you sly dog." I was in a stupor. I tried to sit on the toilet, but the seat was up, and I duly sat right on the toilet. I straightened it up, lowered the seat, and sat like that for a few minutes. My world was collapsing around me. I distinctly remembered what Samuel had overheard a few weeks ago and suddenly realized the true meaning. The old pussy was me, and he would come with a new one. I couldn't understand. I refused to understand. Our life was almost perfect. We both had jobs we loved, 2 beautiful children, a nice home, and wonderful friends. At 34, I was very good-looking, and our love life was more than satisfactory, so why would he choose to leave me for a younger woman? Why risk losing everything to try a new piece of ass? Try as I might, I couldn't find anything in David's behavior that shed any light on his dissatisfaction with me. He does everything he can to express his love for me, his joy at having me as his wife, mother, and friend. And I always respond with the same love. Could I have misinterpreted what I heard? No, John is a little rough on his vocabulary. When he says pussy, he means woman. My marriage was over. I started crying. There was no way I could go on living with that asshole. But how could I go on? What should I do? Should I go and confront him in front of everyone? That wouldn't work. From what they said, the case would be done over the long weekend. I needed to get proof of his deception. Nothing easier than that. A colleague's husband works for a security agency and could install cameras in the house to catch him. Yes, that's exactly what I would do. And then, with proof of his cheating, I'll throw him out on the street and squeeze as much out of him as the court will allow. The hardest part will be living with him for the next week, without letting him suspect anything is wrong. I wiped my eyes, reapplied my ruined makeup, and went outside to mingle with my guests. The next week was horrible. I couldn't be very loving towards David. Every time the two-faced asshole tried to be sweet, loving, and caring, I had to fight myself to just keep from wiping the smile off his face. Finally, Friday came and I went with the kids to my parents' house. When my mom saw me, she knew something was wrong. She insisted I tell her what was wrong, guessing it was something between me and David. An hour later, when the kids were with my dad in the basement playing Xbox on the old TV, I laid it all out to my mom and my little sister Natalie. They were as surprised as I was to learn of David's devious behavior. No words could ease the pain I was feeling, but it was nice to know that I could rely on them, could count on them to help me. On Saturday night, Natalie invited me to come in for a drink. It was a pub with live entertainment. It would be nice to just get drunk and forget that at that very moment, my soon-to-be ex-husband was making love to some chick. Glass after glass of wine, my mood didn't improve, but the burning pain slowly faded away. Natalie's friends were all considerably younger than me, but they made pleasant and amusing company, albeit a little wild for my taste. They all knew now that I was having marital problems and tried their best to make me feel better. Soon I was on the dance floor all the time. Two young men, Steve and Brad, were especially attentive to my moods, dancing with me and saying comforting things to me, such as, "What a fool your husband is," or, "If I were him, I would do anything to keep you." I soon realized that they were mostly trying to take advantage of my misery, but I didn't care. If my asshole husband could play, so could I. I know I'm an attractive woman, and the obvious behavior of these two kids, not that many years separate them from adolescence, confirms that fact. On Sunday, I'll deliver the final blow to this marriage lie, but not without a bang. Toward the end of the evening, nearing last call, I did a slow dance with Steve. I pressed my whole body against him and felt his arousal. That's what I said. "You're a very beautiful woman, Sheila. I don't know yet what your husband will lose when you leave him, but I can't wait to find out tonight if you'll let me," Steve whispered in my ear. In the next seconds, a flood of conflicting feelings and thoughts raced through my head. At the forefront was my natural reticence towards other men since I'd met David. "Two wrongs don't make a right," my mind screamed at me. But my body was also telling me that part of my life was now behind me and that I needed to start a new life as a single divorced woman right away. The feelings eventually overcame the intellect. "This is the first day of my new life, and there's nothing I want more than to make love to you," I finally said. He was quick to respond. A few minutes later, I grabbed my purse and we left toward Steve's apartment. As soon as the door closed, we started shedding our clothes. Steve tried to lead me to his bedroom, but I attacked him on the couch, and soon we were making love. Pretty soon I heard the keys turn in the lock, and Brad appeared in the doorway. Seeing us naked on the couch, he smiled. Closing the door, he stood looking at us. A crazy thought occurred to me, and I immediately sprang into action. With my finger, I invited Brad to come closer. Of course. "Well, go to my purse, grab my little camera, turn it on, put it in video mode, and put it right on the TV so it catches everything we're going to do tonight." Brad looked at me questioningly. "This will be a parting gift to my husband's ass," I explained. With a devilish grin, he did as told and returned. I had never been very loud in my lovemaking, but I wasn't making love. I was having sex. I regretted it very soon. I left for home right after dinner my mom made on Sunday. I didn't call David to let him know I'd be back a day early. I didn't mind surprising him with his winch. Parking in the garage, I was surprised to find that David's car wasn't there. Was he out with his new girlfriend? It didn't matter. On Monday, someone from the security agency would provide me with all the records. Mustache was the only one who greeted us. I hope the asshole didn't leave him behind all weekend. After sending the kids downstairs to the playroom, I plugged my digital camera into the TV. I was ready to give David a good show. Around 10 p.m., I finally heard his car pull up to the house. The garage door was closed, and all the lights were on as he had left them. I stood in the kitchen waiting for him and his girlfriend to come in. I was a little confused when I saw that he was all alone. He was carrying a cardboard box. He was totally surprised to see me. "Honey, is something wrong? Are the children sick? You weren't supposed to be back until tomorrow afternoon," David asked with a concerned expression on his face. His worry was just beginning, though. His girlfriend would probably be here soon. "I know everything, David. I overheard your conversation with John last week. The cat's already out of the bag," I said, my tone a mixture of acid and ice. He lowered his eyes, guilt written all over his face. "I'm so sorry, darling. I should have been honest with you. I don't know why I kept it a secret. I knew that after all these years together you'd feel bad about it," he said in a whisper. "But I did it all for the kids, so the shock wouldn't be so great." Now he had me stumped. How would sex with another woman help the kids cope with our divorce? It didn't make any sense. Before I could answer, the kids ran upstairs and lunged at their father in such a way that he almost dropped the box. Suddenly, a faint meow came from the box, surprising the children and me. David carefully placed the box on the floor and opened the flaps. 2 small heads appeared, looking at the children. "These are for you, children," David said. 2 little kitties, 1 for each of you." I suddenly felt sick, my stomach wanting to empty right here in the kitchen. David looked at me. "I'm sorry, Sheila. The last time I went to the vet, he said the whiskers didn't have long to live. That's when I decided to get these 2 kittens to help the kids cope." He pulled a couple beers out of the fridge and turned to me. "Let's go into the living room while the kids get acquainted with the kittens. I wonder what's on TV. The end! Subscribe to my channel! Thank you."